Now, to get started, you'll need to enable macros. That's by clicking enable content, because if you don't do this, most of the features that run using macros won't work. So the main screen is normally the login screen, the login form, and whenever you will be opening the invoice billing system, you will be required to log in, since it has the role-based access control. So we'll log in with admin rights, which are xfi. The password stays xfi. These are the credentials for all the workbooks. You can change this when you log in. So let's log in. You'll get a pop-up, login successful, role admin. For the different roles, based on the different rights that you have, you will be able to access different functionalities in this workbook. Welcome admin, new access has been applied. So when you log in, you will now be able to see all the sheets as an admin. We'll start with let's start with the users. So under users, here we can set the usernames and the passwords for the different roles. These are the default that come with the Excel workbook. We have the standard roles that also come with this. That's admin, standard, and guest. We have the buttons, that's logout and add row. We will test this as we run through the workbook. Let's continue to the settings worksheet. So under settings worksheet, here we can change the settings based on our businesses. These are what we have as the default: business name, business address, business phone, business mail, tax rate, discount rate, payment methods, logo, and roles. At the customer database, here is where we store our customers with the customer ID that is defined with the formula. So you will just click add row, then the formulas will add automatically. Customer name, email, phone, address, total invoices, total paid, outstanding balance. At the product database, here is where we store our products. The table has product ID, product service /name, description, and the unit price of the product. We have the payment log. This is where we log our payments. If a client is paying in installments, you can easily log them here, and the system will automatically adjust based on the remaining balances. So here we have the invoice number, which picks from the invoice log, payment date, amount, payment method, and remarks. This is our invoice log. This updates automatically. I'm going to show you in the meantime as we start exploring the features. So the invoice log has invoice number, customer name, customer ID, subtotal, tax, shipping, total, invoice date, overdue date, which also calculates automatically, outstanding balance, and the amounts paid from the payment log. And lastly, we have our invoice worksheet. This is the general layout of our invoice. As you can see it, we have the customer details table, these generate automatically, as we are going to see in the meantime. The invoice is auto-generated. Customer ID you pick from the customers, the date, then the main products table. We have our subtotal, rate, tax, shipping, and total. Then here we display the payment terms. Depending on the payment terms you have agreed with the client, you can put them here. Signature, date, up to thank you for your business. So here we have buttons. We have generate number. This generates the invoice number. Fetch client. This gets the client from the client's table. It fetches the client's details from the client table. PDF export. This exports the PDF of this invoice. Log invoice. Logs the invoice after you've input the details. Add row. Adds the row to the details table. We've had the logout button at every sheet. So let's try testing this out. Let's try inputting some data and we see how it works. So we log out from here. This is the logout button. When we log out, let us try testing a standard account, which is xfi1. Login successful. Role is standard. Welcome standard. Your access has been applied. So we can see that the user worksheet and the settings worksheet have disappeared. So we can only see the rest of the worksheets, but the two that we set out are not appearing. Let's now try the guest account, which is at xfi2. Password is also xfi2. Login successful. Role is guest. Welcome guest. Your access has been applied. So now the guest can view but cannot alter or change anything within the tables, as you can see. Even for the editable parts, the guest cannot edit this. Let us now view other features. Let us log out the guest account such that we can get a full review of all the features. We'll use the administrator credentials. So these are our users. As we explained earlier, the admin can change these to anything. Let's say Peter. My password. And the role is standard. So the admin can change these or add new rows to add more users. The add new row button is rating. This is the button that adds rows to the table. So you can fill in new users here. June. Then you can assign a role. We'll see how to change these roles to the preferred role names. Let's say they are standard. Now let's continue to the settings. The settings table stores all the variables that we may need to use in our worksheet. For example, the business name, this can be changed to anything. Let's say my business. The address can be changed. The phone number can be changed. Email address. The percentage of the tax rate. The discount rate. And the payment methods. Then the logo. Now to add a logo, you must be having a logo in the same folder with your worksheet. Let's say this is where we stored our invoice billing system, and the same folder has our xfi.png logo. Then you'll come here and change the logo path. The logo name, which is xfi.png. Press enter. Then click update logo. Logo is updated successfully on all sheets, and the logo will change. So that's the logo settings. These are the rows. So here we can add more rows by simply adding the row. This is the add row button, as I showed you earlier. This is the logo update button, and this is the logo out button. So these are the three buttons that we have on this Excel sheet. So we can simply add row, and then new row will be added. Then we'll input whatever we want under the row. This is our customer database as we reviewed earlier. So we are going to do a test of how all this works. These are our customers that we've input. We have Paul, John, James. This is our product database. Let us add a product here. You can see the product ID automatically picks, since there is a formula for that for adding the product ID. Let's say this is Bentley. Bentayga. Tab. Let's say this is a petrol engine. For the description, tab. Let us press it at 200,000. We can add another row. Let us add a GLS 63 AMG. Let's say this is also petrol. Let us press it at 180. Since we have our product database and we have our customer database, we can proceed to the invoice, creating the invoice. Here we have the business details. These are good from the settings, as I showed to you earlier. These are the details. We have the customer details. So we'll come, input the date. Let's say 7th February. We'll select the customer. Let's say customer number 3. We'll generate a new invoice number from this button. You press the button, then an invoice number will be generated. That's invoice number 3. So since we already have the customer number, which is customer number 3, we can proceed to fetch the client by pressing this button, the fetch client button. The client will be auto-filled. That's James, the email, phone number and address. We can proceed and pick the details. Let's say bought HLS 63 mg and the Bentley. The quantity, let's say there were 2, and here there were 3. The discounts can be changed from the settings. The discount rate for the particular invoice, you can change this, but let's say you have 10%. Then we'll have the totals calculated here. This total is minus the discount given. Down here we'll have the subtotal, the tax rate, the tax amount, and the total, which is 907,200. We'll proceed to logging the invoice because we need this invoice stored somewhere under invoice log. So we'll come at the button for logging the invoice, which is log invoice. Press the button to log the invoice, and the invoice will be logged successfully. So you can see that James is logged here. We have James's details, the invoice number, his name, customer ID, the subtotal, tax, shipping, and the total. Then the invoice date. Then we'll have the overdue date and the outstanding balance. Then the amount paid. The overdue date picks from the number of days that you had given the client. For example, we gave this client 30 days. So 30 days plus the invoice date, which is 7th February, it will expire on 9th March. So the invoice must be paid by that date. Let us update by putting 10 days. We'll come back after updating. You have to come back to log invoice such that it updates the invoice logs. Invoice updated successfully, and the days will be updated successfully. So those are 10 days from 7th of Feb. Once the overdue date has been reached and there is still an outstanding balance, the overdue dates will highlight to red such that you can easily see the dates or the invoices that are still overdue. We'll see that in a while. Let's try showing you how it will highlight the overdue invoices. Let's say, for example, today is 6th February and the terms are 0 days. We'll log the invoice from here and it gets updated. So when you come to invoice log, you will see that this is already overdue. This is already overdue. So it will remain overdue until the outstanding balance is completed. So let's say the client has paid the whole amount. We come to the payment log, select the invoice number, which is invoice number 3. Payment date, let's say he has paid today. The payment amount. The payment amount is 907,200. So that's the full price. The payment method is cash. And the remarks, we have none. We'll come back to the invoice log. And now we can see the highlight is off. The outstanding is 0 and the amount paid is 907,200. Even when the client is paying in installments, let's say invoice number 2, we'll add a row. Select the invoice number, which is number 2. Select the date and the amount the client paid. That's 10,000. Card. When we come back to the invoice log, we can see that there is still an outstanding balance of 108,125 and the amount paid is 10,000. So that's basically what the payment log does and how it interacts with the invoice log and how the invoice log interacts with the main invoice. Thanks for watching. You can post the questions in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification button.